Welcome to Rhythms That Restore. I'm your friend Cherisse that's ready to journey beside you. Let's learn rhythms that can restore our minds, hearts, bodies, and spirits, and allow us to walk confidently in who God has called us to be. Are you ready? Pull up a chair. Let's get started. Welcome to Rhythms That Restore. I'm Cherisse. I am so excited that you're here. I am grateful that you've pulled up a chair. You've pulled up a chair at my virtual table and given yourself an opportunity to press pause, to take a deep breath in, and just release the demands of the day, the expectations that are placed on all of us, that you can just truly let it all go and have a safe space that we can come together every single week. We can rest, we can recharge, we can lay down all of the badges that sometimes we think we need to carry, we need to cling to. We can lay it all down and we can come together and have this safe zone that we can just show up as our whole self. We don't have to dress up for it. You don't have to put on your makeup. You don't have to do your hair. You can dry shampoo it and yoga pants it and just come totally as you are, saying, I am ready to walk forward. I am ready for something different. I am ready to, I'm ready for something different, right? So that's where I was. And I'm thrilled to be able to do this journey with you. I by no means have it figured out. By no means. I just want to share my story because I truly feel like I wish I wouldn't have wasted the time striving for all of the things. And truly, I kind of thought I should title this episode "The Badge of Busyness." Because if there was a badge for busyness, I totally would have it. I would be wearing that badge of busyness. And I don't say that proudly. I truly, if you met me over a decade ago, my son was one. At the time, where I was at was I felt very weary. I was exhausted. I was stretched extremely thin. I say I was a recovering people pleaser. Anyone? Mm-hmm. Maybe it's just me. I was definitely caught up in the need for others' approval. I think I felt safest in the constant rush of being busy. I think I felt like I had control. If I planned every moment out, then I wouldn't have to feel all the things I might have felt. That was, again, this is just me. And I really think that I felt like my calendar was a reflection of success. And I felt like if I was going to be successful, or that's just what I felt like as a woman, if you weren't busy, then like, what in the world were you doing? That's like, I felt like I had to prove myself, right? Like, what is some of the most common things that we hear of as we're talking to friends? We're like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I'm so busy. And so I felt like, well, if I'm not busy, I need to be busy. And that was just kind of where I was. And until, thank you, Lord, for this dear friend. So Drew is one. And at the time, my husband was traveling for work. He had taken a job, and he was on the road all the time. And like I never knew. He could be gone 20 days, home 1, gone another 32, home 2. I just never knew. I never knew when he was going to come home. I was a brand new mom. We were not really newlyweds. We'd been married about 10 years. We were still figuring it out though. So that's painting the picture for y'all. So I had a 1-year-old and all the hormones that come with not sleeping and having a 1-year-old. I had a husband who was also traveling. So obviously feeling extremely lonely, and trying to figure out parenthood and motherhood and all that. And so I think in my area, in where I was, I didn't know. Now looking back after many years of therapy and help, I can realize the level of unhealth that I was living in. But God in his grace placed a dear friend of mine, which you will hear in many episodes. And my goodness sake, so much wisdom has come from her. He placed my friend Debbie in my path. So one of those days that I was at my wit's end, I was exhausted, I was tired, I was lonely, all the things. I remember passing a nail salon in Collierville. Was one of my favorite nail places at the time. Elite nail spa. And I remember thinking, I just want to do something for myself. And so I remember thinking, I have no money. I do not have money to afford this pedicure. I should not be doing this. This is not in our budget. And I ignored that voice. And I went and I sat down in the pedicure chair because, it was kind of like a little happy place. Like, I'm going to do this for myself. And I sat down in this pedicure chair and I just plopped like, like as we do in a pedicure chair, you're like, yes, turn that on. And you turn it on. And then I noticed I can't remember now. I don't know if Debbie sat down next to me or if she was already there. Can't remember. But I think I just remember her also plopping down in the chair. And I think we were both exhausted. And as you do, as women, at least as I do, we start chatting in the chair and we just start sharing stories. And she was so wonderful to ask me and about my story. And so I shared with her about Matt traveling and shared with her about having a 1-year-old son and not knowing what I was doing as a new mama. And she was so kind to listen to me. So I'm sharing about marriage and sharing about parenting and sharing about like, how do I do this? How do I do this? With my one, I'm feeling very overwhelmed. I can't do this. And so then I say, okay, tell me about you. And so she said, well, we just moved here from Memphis. Maybe I think it had been like 6 weeks. We just moved here 6 weeks ago. I've just been unpacking boxes and trying to unpack, which is why I'm here because my hands are a wreck from unpacking so many boxes. And I said, well, do you have children? And she says, I do. She says, we have 7. I said, I'm sorry. What did you say? She said, we have 7. I think at that moment, I immediately started crying. I was like, I'm sorry. I have 1 son and I am falling apart. You have 7. How is that possible? 7 children. And she laughed and she started telling me their story of their children. And she said, well, and she's got an amazing story. You can look it up on YouTube. She said, we have two biological sons that we had. And at that point, she said, we had 2 biological sons. And then we just felt God impressing on our heart that we needed to, there was a family of 5 siblings that, they needed to adopt. And again, I'm not going to tell the whole story because it's amazing. And I'll have her on so you guys can hear. But so she just started telling me their story. And I just think I was sobbing. I couldn't stop crying. That for many reasons. Number one, that God would put me in a place next to a woman who had raised 7 children. And I couldn't even see the path forward with one. That she would put me next to a woman who had been married for many more years than me and could offer encouragement and it was just like Debbie offered a sweet, soothing balm to my soul that I didn't even know could exist. I didn't know. I had no idea. And so as we talked in that pedicure chair, she just listened and offered such encouragement to a girl who was very, very sad, lonely, broken, discouraged, overwhelmed, exhausted. She held out her hands and just said, like invited me in to be a friend and into her space. And I don't really know, y'all, up to that point, if I don't think I had. I had, many, many women in my life, so many women in my life that had mentored me from afar and spoke into my life and taught me. And I'm so grateful for that. But I don't think up until that point, I had ever had anyone invite me in, like, for a discipleship relationship. I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't. And she said, Cherisse, I'd love to invite you over to my house for lunch. I'm like, okay, sure. I just met you. Sure, I would love that. And I think probably not probably. I think in my head at first, I thought, great, this is great. She's going to be a client of mine. We're going to get to know each other, and I'm going to be able to serve her and take care of her, and that's going to be wonderful. And maybe she was, I'm sure in that day, maybe she was like, Cherisse, if that's how I can have you come to my home, then sure. But she knew that wasn't the intention. She knew that it was going to be a long road to walk with me. She knew that I needed some help, y'all. I needed so much help. I still need help. But again, I didn't even know what that relationship was. I didn't know what it was like to do life beside someone. I didn't know what it was like to have somebody take an interest in me that just wanted to know me for me. Does that even, right? Not for what I could give them, not for what I could do, not for what I could serve them with. That was such a foreign concept to me. And that's embarrassing for me to say and to admit. I don't know why that's so hard, even still to this day. That's a really hard thing. Anyone else? Like, is that just me? But that was where I was. That being able to understand that someone could love me and want to get to know me for just me was a lot to be able to take in. It was, and it still is. So Debbie invited me over to lunch, and that truly began so far our 12-year friendship and journey in Debbie helping peel back my layers, if you will, of identity. Wow, right? I know. And so fast forward, so she invites me over to her home, and we had lunch, and this would happen probably almost weekly, maybe every couple of weeks, that we would have lunch. And so Debbie, we're sitting there having lunch, getting to know each other again. She's still asking me about my story. So I'm telling her all about meeting my husband in high school. If y'all, let me tell you this funny story. So Matt and I met at high school. We both went to Houston High here in Germantown, Tennessee. I jokingly say that we met each other at band camp because it makes everyone laugh. But I mean, we really did. I don't think that I met him then, but he says he noticed me at band camp. So we'll leave it at that. But we did. We met in high school at band camp. That was really our place, our family in high school. We went to a really big high school. We graduated like 600 people. So you had to have something smaller to find your groove and find your people. And so we met in high school and dated through high school. And then he went off to Mississippi State, and I hadn't really even thought about it, y'all. Everybody's like, where are you going to college? I'm like, I don't know. Where's Matt going to college? Sounds good. So followed him to Mississippi State, and there's so much more to the story, but ended up coming back to Memphis to do school until I stopped school. And yeah, there's more to the story. But so I shared a little bit more of that with Debbie. And one of the questions I remember so vividly that I thought would be really interesting to we're just going to start here today, and then we're going to kind of unpack this in the next few episodes a little bit more, because it is a lot to unpack. And it was a lot for me to unpack that day when Debbie asked me. I thought, what in the world? It was such a heavy topic for me. And I think it's still a relevant topic for us. So we're having lunch, and Debbie says to me, Cherisse, tell me who you are. I was like, well, I've already told you who I am. And she says, no, Cherisse, who are you? And so I told her, well, I am, this is what I do. And she said, no, that's what you do. Okay. She's like, who are you? I'm a wife. Nope. That's who you're married to. Oh my gosh. Okay. Then I was like, well, I have 2 sisters and a younger brother. And she's like, nope, that's your family of origin. Okay. I'm like, I have no idea what she's asking me. What is she looking for in this? And so we continue talking and she keeps asking me the question, who are you? And I kept thinking, well, if I'm not what I do, I'm not, okay, I'm not a wife. I'm not just a mom. I'm not a sister. I'm not a daughter. All the things. You're not your education. You're not your marriage, not your kids. And thinking back now, I'm like, wow, you know what I was? I felt really empty. I was full in my schedule. I was full in my exhaustion, but I was empty inside. Isn't that so? How is that even real? How can we be so full of exhaustion and weariness and busy, yet our soul is empty and aching? Well, that was where I was. That was where I was, y'all. And so she asked me that. And she said, Cherisse, you are a daughter of the King. You are beloved. You are God's beloved. And she continued to read these statements, these I am statements over me of who I am as God's daughter, as his chosen, as his beloved. And I don't even know. I think I just wept. Again, it was so hard for me to understand that I could be those things, that I could be beloved, that I could be forgiven, that I could be redeemed. I just wasn't even there. Again, because what was I living for? I was living for everything else. I was living for the approval of others. These were some of the statements that she read over me. I am accepted. I am secure. I am significant. Right? And there's so many. I am God's child. I am Christ's friend. I have been justified. I have been adopted as God's child. I am complete in Christ. Y'all, those were very new concepts for me. I couldn't even see that yet for myself. It was so, yeah. Like I have 2 visuals in my head right now. Think of the visual of a ball of yarn that is so tightly wound, like it's a big old ball of string. And the more you wind it, the tighter it gets, tighter it gets, tighter it gets. That'd be an accurate picture of me there. Or the other one I love is an onion, which, makes us all cry. But I feel like I feel like every time that we would get together, she would ask me these beautiful questions and would pull back a layer and pull back another layer and pull back another layer. Because Debbie was just trying to get to know me. And she was really wanting me to get to know me, who I was, who I really was, who was my whole self. Because for so many years, I was showing up not as my authentic self. I was showing up as the self that the world expected of me. I was showing up as the woman that I was supposed to be. And I got so good at, living for everyone else and what everyone else wanted, I kind of forgot who I was created to be, who God made me to be, what my giftings were, right? What walking in that truth of the beautiful DNA and the gifts that God had given to only me. But I was so busy, I couldn't even see, nor did I want to even listen to what that was, right? Oh my goodness. And so I am so grateful that Debbie sat me down that second time and continued to sit down with me. I'm so grateful that she taught me what a beautiful display of what discipleship is. Discipleship is just walking hand in hand with women or a friend, whoever it is, and walking through God's truth, walking through the messiness of life, unearthing the things that we've pushed down, right? My friend Danielle and I, we have a great saying that feelings come up. What do? We push them back down. Pushing back down, feelings come up, pushing back down, because that's the healthy, right? That no, it's not healthy. That's just what culture likes to tell us to do. But we joke about it because we had got ourselves into a path in life that was our norm. Not healthy at all. And so Debbie was giving me a safe place to be myself, to learn who God created me to be. And that is why I am so excited to be on this journey with you. I cannot tell you thank you enough for pressing play. I cannot thank you enough for allowing me to share this tiny bit of my story with you. And I just want it to be an encouragement. I don't know if you've ever felt this way or know of someone who has felt this way, but I want you to know you're not alone. And I wasn't alone either. I felt like I was until God put Debbie in my life, until she started teaching me who I was in Christ. And she started teaching me these beautiful, beautiful rhythms that would slowly and over time restore my soul. So friends, I'm so grateful that you joined me today for this first episode. I thank you for pulling up a chair with me. And I want to hear from you. I would love for you to send me a DM and let me know what touched your heart, what resonated. You find me on Instagram. You can message me on there. Send this to a friend if you think, oh my goodness, I would love to have my friend journey beside Cherisse and I in this. And we're going to dive into some more topics like this. I'll put in the show notes the book. This is it's called Victory Over the Darkness. This is what she had me read at first. We walked through it very, very slow. Very slow. And you know what? In our 12 years, we've probably walked back through it again. Probably a good time to go back through it now. But Victory Over the Darkness by Neil Anderson. You can get it on Amazon. You guys, such a great place to start. If it resonated at all in your heart about wearing a badge of busyness or feeling like your calendar was a reflection of who you are, or if you've ever struggled with feeling like you strive for approval of others. Or maybe if you just feel like, Cherisse, I don't feel like I'm walking in my authentic me. I feel like I'm not showing up to the table as my true self. Then I would love to encourage you to continue walking with us through these next episodes. And just know I'm right here beside you. I have not arrived. We will never arrive. When we do, we will not be here, right? But let's journey together through this and learn these beautiful, beautiful rhythms that will not only restore our hearts and souls, but everybody in our household, everybody in our circle of influence that God has given us to steward and do life with. It will be a blessing to every single one of them. So thank y'all so much. Excited that you're here. Be sure to click and follow the show, refer or send it to a friend, and send me a message on Instagram and let me know how this touched your heart. I hope you guys had a great day. And until next time, I can't wait to hear from you. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me on this journey of restoration and renewal. Remember, you can stay connected with me between episodes by following me on Instagram. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to ensure you never miss an episode. And if you found value in our conversation today, I'd truly appreciate it if you leave a review on your favorite podcast platform or share the show with a friend who might benefit from these rhythms. Until next time, may you find peace in knowing that you can show up every day simply as you are. And that is enough. Take care.